Transmission will start in 5 seconds from now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, in.
I will not be pushed, filed, stamped, indexed, briefed, debriefed, or numbered. My life is my own.
They're frequently dumb, but they're sometimes astute. They're always emphatic on a degree absolute. They're breaking the prisoner right down to the root. That whole TV show on a degree absolute. If you like lava lamps and weather balloons and whack-ass inflections from Patrick McGoon, Chris and Glenn made a podcast especially for you. It's no degree partial, it's a degree absolute. Absolute.
Glenn?
Chris?
Patty McGee was right. He was not personable. He was not charming.
Nope.
Not a guy you want to have a beer with.
No, not even a shandy.
Not even if you were Peter Falk. But,
or Drambuie. Nope.
But he was right. He was right about us all being entrapped in a technological cage.
Sure.
Powerless to see the bars of our confinement.
Yep.
The reason we're doing this tonight instead of last night is because the other night, Saturday night, I came home from a party. Super weird. An outdoor party, but a party nevertheless for a friend who had turned 40 and bought a house. And back when she sent out the invitations for this function, it appeared that this was a safe time for vaccinated people to gather once again. Yeah. So she didn't cancel, but it was vaccinated only and put a mask on if you're going in the house. Very reasonable. Came back and my iPhone, my trusty iPhone, just 2 weeks out of its AppleCare warranty period, had suddenly developed this weird strobe effect where like it hurt your eyes to look at it directly. And I was like, oh, that's new and novel. So I restarted it and it didn't correct the problem. And then I Googled for solutions and tried adjusting my brightness settings and auto level contrast, blah, blah, blah. I did a hard reset.
Yep.
A real hard reset, Glenn.
Okay.
And all the hard reset did was make the screen that had previously been strobe lighty just completely inoperative. So now I'm getting the audio prompts for blind, iPhone users. You can navigate but being unpracticed in that, I didn't know what was going on. Trying to negotiate my obelisk, my just entirely black. Yes, it's like the monolith from 2001. I trying to deal with this thing. I can see my fingerprints on it. Apparently, there is an emergency call button that you can activate easily, because I did reach DC 911 briefly and explained to them that was an accident, and I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
I hope someone else was not getting a busy signal.
That's okay. Yeah. It's not like they're strapped or anything. It's perfect time to call 911.
Right. So, and like by the next day, I'd kind of accepted, okay, fuck, I'm going to have to, buy another. So, but I'm trying to make this as efficient a process as possible. So I'm trying to do it online via chat, and setting up the sale, and I get it all set up and I pick out my new iPhone, and I don't want to change cell plans or anything. So I get to the final purchase stage, which is simply, now we're going to text you a code and you're going to enter the code here, and that's going to complete the purchase. And I cannot receive text messages, Glenn, because I'm here chatting back with Vishal. Vishal, very, very helpful, super chipper. I guess he's trained to end most anything that's not a question to punctuate it with an exclamation point, because the voice that I was imagining for him was very like a little overly energetic, actually, a little manic almost, but.
Checks out.
He's trying to help me out. He's trying to find some way they can email the code to me, and I'm logging in on my desktop to my mobile carrier, trying to find out if there's some way I can see my text messages, via a web browser or something, and no dice. Nothing's happening. So finally, there's no choice but for me to go into the Apple store. I have to make an appointment to do that, and I get in there, and that's when I'm told the trade-in credit is not going to apply to me, because this is still we're still less than 24 hours out from when my iPhone was functioning perfectly. Yeah. But now it's just talking. Now it won't shut up. Now it's just reading the menu. Power off, dial emergency. I can see the humor in this. Yeah. the Carnegie Library in D.C. It's
Oh, yeah.
kind of embarrassing that this historic building is now an Apple store.
It's terrible.
It's yes. To give the listeners a visual, this is a high-ceilinged marble, echoey edifice. It has that kind of blank and empty sort of Apple Store aesthetic, but it predates that. I guess this is, I don't know, is it colonial architectural style or
I can tell you.
something? I don't know. It seems to have been designed to match the monuments.
Mm-hmm.
Not too far south of it. And so, yeah, I'm wandering around waiting for my turn. And, of course, my phone is still call, SOS, call 911. Because I can't.
You can't turn it down.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope,
All right.
Nope. So I pick up my new phone, immediately I have to download software updates and stuff. And you would think that the Apple Store would have great Wi-Fi, which maybe it does if, 400 people aren't trying to use it at the same time.
That's
but
true.
As this is all going on, by the way, I have a low-tech paper analog magazine with me. I have this August 23rd issue of The New Yorker. I'm trying, with my frayed concentration, my winnowed patience, to get through an article titled Thinking It Through by Joshua Rothman. The deck on this is How Much Can Rationality Do for Us? The subject of this, 6,000 word investigation is just how rational, analytical does it behoove human beings to be? Spock is mentioned in the fourth paragraph.
No, I would imagine.
Sure. And I'd been thinking about this because I realized I feel like I'm increasingly a slave to the fucking phone anyway, or I'm just laying in bed in the morning, first thing in the morning, you're staring at it for no reason. There's that lost 15 or 30 minutes before you actually get out of bed and do anything, where you're doing nothing. You're just staring at this fucking thing. It's probably drawing power out of you somehow. And the thing with me as a music fan and an obsessive is just moving files around, changing iTunes libraries and since a couple of OS upgrades ago, it has become increasingly unwieldy to do this between your desktop and your iPhone, especially if you want to put music on your phone that's not available through the Apple Store, that's not in the massive Apple library, like bootlegs or just stuff you made yourself, or say an episode of A Degree Absolute that you're not ready to release to the world yet, but you'd like to be able to listen to it while you're just walking around to look for the mistakes. And so this has become a massively time-consuming thing, and I realize I'll have spent hours and I'm just moving files around. It's not listening to music. It's not listening to anything. It's not having any kind of a human reaction. It is behaving exactly the way a computer behaves, albeit, much less efficiently and more in a more error-prone way. Anyway, so these are the kind of dark, morbid thoughts that I'm having as I'm sitting there in the Carnegie Library, which kind of looks like purgatory anyway. Have you seen the Albert Brooks movie Defending Your Life? It's
Sure.
It's kind of like that. The Apple genius who ends up, sincerely but ultimately unsuccessfully helping me to try to get my old obelisk turned back on so I can hand it over for my $220 in credit. A drop in the bucket of the new device is I guess hearing impaired, because we are he greets me with a gesture. He sort of waves in my peripheral vision to get my attention, and then we're communicating the whole time. He has a little tablet and we're just typing messages back and forth in the piano. He seemed very nice, very capable, but I'm just thinking, wow, I started the day doing web chat with someone who's probably in another continent, hoping to avoid an in-person interaction, and now I'm having an in-person text chat with another guy.
But it's resolved.
It's resolved. I'm much poorer than I was.
Yeah.
But
you sold your soul to the company store. You re-upped with Apple. Yeah. And this didn't happen because you threw it in water.
No,
it didn't happen because you fed it after midnight.
I don't know. I'm not sure I would remember if I
did you expose it to bright sunlight?
But,
I have no words of wisdom here because I am tech, not phobic, but tech ambivalent, and I never update anything. I don't know anything about the cloud. I don't understand things. But I did hear the voice of my late father in my head as you were talking, saying his really only words of wisdom related to the tech field that he's ever passed down to me, which is that's how they get you. So if that is any help. That's,
what the iPhone has done is I realized the reason this totally ate my whole day is because there is nothing that I can do without this thing now. I need it to sign in to my job.
Yes.
In the morning. I used to have take pride in how quickly I would destroy iPods by sweating on them profusely when they were just iPods, when they were not your phone, when they did nothing else but play audio files for you. But those days are gone. Like a couple of ones that I still have, I can't find the right cable to charge them with. So it's just this one-shot device that's your everything. It's your badge to get into work. It's your...
I think you just probably need to get a fanny pack, fill it with rice, and just keep it in there, and I think you'd be fine.
I've been running with a fanny pack for 15 years, Glenn, because I can't run without carrying hydration with me. I mean, what do you think I am? Like one of those people who I see every day who are just doing intense physical exertion and somehow not sweating or sweating very little? That's, no.
Yeah, you could just lick some electrolytes, I guess. You could just take some... I don't know where you get electrolytes from.
I'm currently testing 2 new products. One of them is called Sport Legs, Glenn.
Oh, I don't like that.
Sport Legs, the logo of Sport Legs is a drawing of some legs with a little, the little no red circle with the strike through, like on the no parking sign or the Ghostbusters logo. So it's like no legs?
No legs.
This is...
Yes.
Yeah.
This
the
is only for snakes.
On the bottle of Sport Legs says, outperform your age.
It's passive-aggressive.
It is. I'm confident that I'm outperforming my age. Thank you very much. So I put a picture of this bottle on Instagram, and one of my colleagues at work commented with a very rational question: is it ground up legs?
Yeah, that's true. It's people. It's people.
Yes, the Soylent Sport Legs is green or something.
Yep. All right, I'm not trying to rush you, Chris, but I am at 30% on my phone. So this is...
Right.
So we have a hard out.
Charge your phone.
I never charge my damn phone, so...
How much preamble do you think we need to do? This is a mailbag episode, by the way. This is
this is a mailbag episode, so this is why I'm wondering, because I have a pivot if we are going to do the full folder all at the beginning. If we're not,
do you?
Boy... Yeah, I have something to do. It's not going to be as effective, but...
Okay, good.
I don't think we need to, personally, me. But
we can save it for. I mean, we're going to be recording with the great humorist Alexandra Petri very soon, and I'm certainly very keen on, no doubt doomed effort to ingratiate myself into the good graces of Petri. So I think we should definitely do the preamble on that episode.
Good, because I wrote it for that episode. Excellent. So if I did it tonight, it would make no sense to anyone, as opposed to tomorrow night, when it will make sense to you, and that's pretty much all.
That's fine.
So that's a 100% increase right there.
Okay, well, then before we get to the listener mail, I just want to take a moment to celebrate the virtues of representative democracy.
Okay.
Of this beautiful citizen-constructed, citizen-sustained democratic republic that we have erected on the internet, Glenn. Because I don't know if you even saw... No, you did see this, but I issued a poll testing among the electorate...
Oh,
your theory that it was time to retire.
I did not see the results. Did not see the results.
Tired, that it was, Glenn, there are people who share your view that it's tired,
Good.
that it should be subjected to equestricide, dead-horsed, pasteurized.
Sure.
That's what they call it when you put something out to pasture, right?
Yeah.
Pasteurization, Louis.
And glued. Yep.
But they are a minority, Glenn.
Are they plurality or are they minority?
They're a distinct minority, Glenn.
Okay.
Let's put it this way. Just measuring by poll results, our preamble, our, according to you, tired, played, exhausting, overlong, hacky preamble is more popular than President Biden, more popular than the Affordable Care Act, more popular than coronavirus vaccines, more popular than strengthening gun control laws. 81% of the electorate, Glenn, said, no, keep it. It is a prize to be cherished.
Yes. I don't think they said that.
Well, that was how I phrased the poll. Yeah. I'm actually going to find the poll just so I can... First of all, Glenn, unlike our preamble, the Twitter poll is a place of enforced brevity. Like, it is... I mean, remember when Twitter used to be 140 characters and not 280?
I do.
Like, for your poll options, you have, I don't know, like 50 characters maybe?
I think it's like 25.
Yeah, it's super short. So that's why I had to make dead horse one word. I couldn't even afford the space between dead and horse. I said, where is it? I said, dead horse equestricide, 19% of the vote. Prize to keep and cherish, 81%.
Yeah. Okay. You didn't do a NA. You didn't do a undecided. You didn't do because I think that would have skewed it. I think.
You think other would have run away with it?
I think other would have run away with it.
What's the other? It's a binary. It's a yes or no, up or down. What's
No, I don't think it's binary. I don't think it is. I think
you know
could
what?
Shorten it. We could tailor it. We could. Well, I'm thinking shorten it, but that's.
I know.
Okay, so 81% of them love to hear us suffer.
Paul Jack, I believe this is our frequent correspondent, Paul. I don't know. I'm trying to put the Twitter handle to the person. Actually,
it's a fool's game.
I take it back. He did basically give us a third way. He responded with a tweet. My suggestion, do a themed one from time to time, like the 70s TV references in the Columbo episode. Otherwise, retire it except for special occasions on mailbag episodes. Use a fan-submitted preamble.
Oh. That's, less work for me.
Sure.
I'm all for that.
Yes.
Except when we've done that before, when we've read some fan-submitted suggestions, they were just kind of repeating stuff we'd already done because it's so tired and limited that it's hard to do, is my point, Chris.
Yeah. And you do feel awfully rude when you're like, because I'm so moved that people take the time to engage in this stupid self-flagellating exercise and then be like, yeah, good effort, but I did that one already.
Yeah.
Psh, Salt and Pepper, episode 1. Come on.
Right? But we can't
with
expect them to know that.
with a level of effort like that, you're never going to get it, never going to get it, never going to get it.
Okay. Right. Should have seen that coming.
81%.
Yeah, okay. It's not...
That's like a C+.
I'm reminded of the time I was playing categories with friends, and the category was languages, and under E, I wrote Esperanto. Because no one around the table had ever fucking heard of Esperanto, they voted it down, even though it is true, rigorously true.
They've never seen that one William Shatner movie?
Ruled the day, succubus. Ignorance ruled... Incubus, maybe. Incubus, yes. Ignorance and incubus ruled the day, and I still, as you can tell, I still think on it on occasion, from time to fucking time.
This game of categories was what, 1987 or?
It was easily. It was like it's right about then, right about now. The Funk Soul Brother.
All right. Would you like to read some mail?
Let's rip open the mailbag, shall we?
Apparently, we're not gonna do any more preamble. We've done
81%.
Quite enough preamble.
81%. These people are the ones who are writing these emails. I can tell.
What did Ronald Reagan win? What percentage of the popular vote did he get in 1984?
I can't remember.
Someone will tell us.
Yeah.
Bet you it wasn't 81%.
Is it just big one dot of blue in Minnesota? The rest was red.
All right. See, I can already see I'm about to do another yes, but just like I was saying, we are loath to do with the reader submitted or listener submitted preambles. What are we going to do? Because the subject line of this epistle is The Prisoner in Nowhere Man.
Okay.
From Gary, who did sign with his last name, Glenn. So I'm gonna violate every protocol of the Witness Protection Program and say his last name when we. And he actually put his city of residence too. That's a lot of personal information. I don't know. I'll reflect on this as I read his very kind note. Hello, Mr. Glenn and Mr. Chris. Is he addressing his elders, you think?
It's I'm from Master. I'm young.
I have a couple friends, contemporaries, who have teenage children now, Glenn, and they call me Mr. Chris, and I'm, I mean, are we in antebellum South somewhere? It
sounds like you're a West Hollywood furrier. Oh, furs by Mr. Chris.
Yeah.
Makeup by the firm of Mr. Chris. Go ahead.
All right. Your podcast, and I would like to recommend a show that would be in keeping with the aesthetic and the message of the Prisoner TV show. A little about myself. I always appreciate good copies. From an early age, I learned to appreciate not just Michelangelo's David, but also the statues of David around it created by his students. I always liked the Ruddles in relation to the Beatles.
Sure.
I don't like Batman comics. Oh, fighting words. Okay. But put Nighthawk in Chicago, and you got my money. Nighthawk, did he mean Nightwing?
He's the Marvel. Yeah, he's the Marvel ripoff. Yeah.
Okay, I thought Daredevil was kind of the Marvel
and Moon Knight. Pick one, you know.
Yeah, sure,
it's all just go nuts.
I like a good copy that tries and sometimes fails to reach the heights of the original in its own way and in its own time. After The Prisoner, but during the heyday of the X-Files, the UPN produced a show called Nowhere Man. Nowhere Man was an American homage to The Prisoner with equal parts of the fugitive and the Manchurian Candidate thrown into the mix. Michael Epstein, one of the two members with Sophia Cacciola in Do Not Forsake Me, Oh My Darling, the Prisoner Band, that filmmaking duo that we interviewed several episodes ago. Yeah, he recommended this show too. Thomas Vale is a photojournalist on the run who had his life erased by an organization that is after the film negatives of a mysterious photograph that he took in South America.
Film negatives.
It turns the entire...
The daguerreotypes that he...
Yes. The entire 1990s America, which curiously looks like the backdrop of the Highlander TV show, also shot in Portland, into the village. It felt more immediate to me as a viewer in the 90s than The Prisoner, playing on the idea of conspiracies as a way to trap someone, in as much as The Village traps number 6. You can catch the series on YouTube. My suggestion is that if you want to watch any episode, watch Paradise on Your Doorstep, which is the episode most like The Prisoner. All the episodes all owe a debt to The Prisoner TV show, either in style or in playing around with expectations. It even has an ending that is sort of a dark mirror to the end of The Prisoner, where it tries to take the Prisoner idea one step further into the panopticon Foucault territory of the pendulum fame, I guess. Is Foucault how you say that?
It is.
Panopticon Foucault territory, and doesn't quite get there, but it tries. It tries really hard. And honestly, like a good copy, sometimes those attempts are as interesting to see as the original. Gary and Chetta, Florence, South Carolina. Thank you, Gary.
You've just seen the premiere of network television's most intense new drama.
What am I doing here?
Thomas Vale's enemies are everywhere.
What did you do with the negatives?
The truth is somewhere.
Death. Soldiers, airplanes.
That's enough, boy.
To find it, he'll go anywhere.
Who are you people? What the hell do you want from me?
What information, pal?
But until he exposes the plot to destroy him, he's Nowhere Man.
Are you familiar with a photograph titled Hidden Agenda?
You know I am. What do you want to know?
Watch as week after week the conspiracy grows.
Now tell us what we want to know.
The chase quickens.
I don't know you.
And the suspense builds to an intensity never before seen on network television.
Miss Stoke will die if you don't answer the question.
From desperation to madness, Thomas Vale's only chance to survive is to fight back.
Whoever those people are, they're trying to do the same thing to you as they did to me.
He's trapped in a maze of terror.
I've made my first executive decision.
What's that?
Getting rid of you.
Deception.
Stay away from him.
I don't have time for this.
No!
And betrayal.
You never thought of that, did you?
I know what it feels like to have it all ripped away.
Is there a way out? Find out. Bruce Greenwood stars in Nowhere Man.
All right, I dimly you were probably too young, but I dimly remember the existence of this show. I might have seen the pilot. Can you, because if I try to Google anything now, I will lose your handsome face on the phone. Can you Google and see if that's streaming anywhere? I highly doubt it.
He said it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, okay.
Yeah, and he actually provided a link, so I'm going to click the link here. We'll see if this seems like a
VHS
legit...
of copy of a VHS copy of a thing?
No, this looks...
Too
the negatives. I just moved on the timeline to a random point in the middle of the episode, and the first words I heard were the negatives. No, this looks like a first. I mean, this is probably VHS source, but it doesn't look like it's been dubbed 100 times.
Okay,
I'd say it's watchable.
All right. Well, let's widen out to this. Copies that are as good or at least interesting to watch than the original. I didn't see this question beforehand, but you did, so you probably have some handy examples to deploy right now. Huh? Yes? Right? Sure. Good. Go ahead. Well, I mean, to risk going off on a tangent with you, well, you have Bond. He's very successful. And then you have In Like Flint, which is Bond with a glint in his eye. And then Bond becomes exactly that. Bond becomes a parody of itself.
There are certain things where the public identity of them becomes the parody version, the caricatured version with the edges sanded off. And that's why you have everybody saying, like, particularly people who haven't read any Ian Fleming novels and don't watch Bond movies, to be like, oh yeah, Idris Elba, he's the perfect actor to play Bond. The perfect actor to play Bond because he's very handsome and charming.
Right.
Okay, there are other elements to this character. No disrespect to Idris Elba, but...
Yeah, but when Daniel Craig took it over, he took away the sadism, he took away the misogyny, right? Like, a little bit?
I thought he brought layers to it that had been present in the prose. I'm not going to defend Ian Fleming's attitudes and worldview. I'm just going to say he could put a sentence together. And he gave the Bond character a psychological realism that was never really present in the movies until Casino Royale 06 with Daniel Craig. And then I don't think it even stuck around even as long as Craig's run.
No, that's right.
It would be great if that came back in No Time to Die for his victory lap. But yeah, but I mean, what the public knows, I think, are the Bond parodies. I think they know the Roger Moore version.
Moneypenny, where's 007?
He's on a mission, sir, in Austria.
Well, tell him to pull out. Immediately.
Oh, James. I cannot find the words.
Well, let me try and enlarge your vocabulary.
Kind of a goofy guy with, like you said, a twinkle in his eye and always a quip, and certainly doesn't show any sense of being worn down by this miserable job.
Mm-hmm.
There are perks. You get to go beautiful places, and sometimes Her Majesty needs you to seduce some beautiful women, but it's a lot of killing and a lot of taking beatings and a lot of watching good people get hurt and a lot of like feeling like you had something to do with the sorry fate that a lot of your allies encountered. So I mean, and I think the Fleming and the Craig version emphasizes more of the cost of all that, and certainly by the time we get to the 70s Roger Moore version, like all that has gone out of it, and that's the version that kind of sticks.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of examples of this as a phenomenon of a copy being as interesting or in some cases more interesting. But we got to move on. I'm at 28%. So
sure, okay.
Next question.
Your beloved 60s Batman. Right. And I mean, I know you are sick to death of people being like, no, you got to bring back the psychological, the dark Avenger of the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And yes, unless it's Lego Batman, I don't really need that at present. But that 60s version was the dominant version for a good 20 years. You remember that well. So
it was, and there were attempts to copy it because that's how media works. And there was a Green Hornet that kind of took things a little bit more seriously. It didn't last, even though it had Bruce Lee as Kato. But the show was such a product of its time, of the pop art phase, that it couldn't exist. It couldn't be launched and sustained. And it kind of burned itself out very quickly. Anyway, next.
I think if Bruce Lee had not lost that very embarrassing fight to stuntman Cliff Booth on the set of Green.
Let me just say, nobody beat the shit out of Bruce. It was a friendly contest. He barely touched me.
I think that dent in the car says something different.
Notice the speed with which I am moving on. This is from Ken S. The subject line is Shameful Admission. Hi there. Hearing Glenn pimp this podcast on what's making us happy a few months back made me want to rewatch the show. This is the gold. We have done the Lord's work, Chris. Decided to introduce the show to my wife. Fraught.
Oh boy.
We had just finished The Invaders.
Yeah, we are not credentialed to give relationship advice.
No. Now, The Invaders is the second time The Invaders has come up on this show. If you need someone to at least slow down an alien invasion, might I suggest a chain-smoking architect? I'm sure that's funny if I had seen the show The Invaders. But again, this is a show that has been recommended to us before. Needed something to keep that spirit going, and we are now 10 episodes in, finding it fun to just talk like McGowan over dinner. Me, please pass the ketchup. Her, you won't get it. None of this is the shameful part, he says. Agree to disagree. Actually, you know what? That's not shameful. Nothing about that is shameful. Otherwise, I would be living my life in shame. Just finished.
Now, I believe you and your spouse have a certain 60s TV show repartee with which you begin road trips.
On long car trips.
Would you like to share this with
On long car trips, I am sitting in the passenger seat, inevitably, because he's a control freak, and I say atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed, and he only has to say Roger, ready to move out, but instead he usually says something like Roger moving out or move out Roger. He's gotten better at it over the course of 23 fucking years, but he's gotten better at it now.
Oh, God. This is like that scene in Out of Sight where George Clooney is in the trunk with Jennifer Lopez and he's misquoting all the famous movies. And she's like, okay, you're a fugitive and you've taken me hostage, but also I need to correct your, your movie trivia.
Yep. Back to Ken S. Just finished Hammer into Anvil and the accompanying podcast and finally came to the realization as to why all of your rankings are out of 6. Nuance, he says, lost on me, and then he says something nice about the show. Sincerely, Ken. It was lost on Jesse Thorne,
Jesse
too.
needed most of the episode to put it together.
I would feel no shame. No, this is not a shameful admission. This is just a statement of fact, and I appreciate it.
Let that be something that listeners can discover in their own time.
Mm-hmm. All right, back to you.
Okay. Boy, oh boy. I kept this one because I only trusted myself not to misstate the gender of Professor Carolyn Coca, again, of the Department of Politics, Economics, and Law at the State University of New York, College of Old Westbury. Patty McGee on Columbo. Hi again, guys. I'm so pleased you'll be covering Columbo. Super pleased that Linda Holmes will be joining with you. You'll have fun with it, I swear. No need to swear, Carolyn. We did have fun with it. And,
we did.
I think Linda did too. I mean, I know Linda gets around. I know she is a frequent contributor to other podcasts other than the one she hosts, but I always like to hear her, when she's lets her hair down a little bit. She doesn't have those hosting responsibilities, and it's always fun to just have her.
Now she knocked it out of the park. She's dependably great, is Linda Holmes.
I'm checking back in because one of the season numbers I cited in my first email is not how it's listed on Peacock.
Oh, here we go. Oh,
as a
my
teacher,
people.
which all of your listeners now know me to be, I just couldn't leave things like that, assuming you and others will watch on Peacock. Go by this. All right. I know we don't have to give our listeners this information. I know they're very resourceful and they will get this themselves. But just to note Professor Coca's her devotion to the truth, her commitment to correcting errors, no matter how small, which I admire very much. I'm going to share the professor's syllabus here. Episodes he's in. Season 4, Episode 3, By Dawn's Early Light. Season 5, Episode 3, Identity Crisis, also director. Season 9, Episode 3, Agenda for Murder, also director. Season 10, Episode 12, Ashes to Ashes, also director. And One McGee Daughter is in it. So we did talk about all of those with Linda. Episodes he's directed but isn't in. Season 5, Episode 6, Last Salute to the Commodore. Season 10, Episode 13, Murder with Too Many Notes. This one has the other McGee daughter in it, and presumably not
like Amadeus.
Right. It's Jeffrey. What's his name? Jeffrey Jones.
He who must not be
Why
named.
is he not working anymore, Glenn?
Who knows? What happened to that guy?
Haven't seen him in much lately.
Nope.
Loved him in Deadwood and obviously Ferris Bueller, Principal Rooney. Yes.
Yeah.
As I pat my trench coat pockets with my cigar in my hand, just one more thing. If you wanted to check out my books and comics, my books about comics, just let me know, and I'd be happy to send you PDFs. Maybe this isn't for the whole...
Probably not, Chris.
Be seeing you. Carolyn is the author of the Eisner Award-winning Superwomen, Gender, Power, and Representation.
A book I have read and reviewed and recommended on NPR.org.
Outstanding. Well, have you reviewed and recommended Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, Militarism and Feminism in Comics and Film?
Not yet, but today is young.
There's some assigned reading for you, my friend.
Okay.
And I'm sure Carolyn would be happy to provide you with a copy. Thank you, Carolyn, for diligently correcting that extremely minor and highly forgivable error. We appreciate your correspondence so much. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. This is from Claire G. Subject, the prisoner finale theories. Dear Glenn and Chris, I have a theory about the ending, namely that number 6 has become the new number 1. The door on the prisoner's flat, when we get back to London, has the number 1 on it. Now, this is the original number on the flat, as seen in Many Happy Returns, so it could have 0 significance. 0. The fact that in Fallout the person with the number 1 robe turns out to be a weird number 6 clone, getting a little squishy there, could mean that number 6 was number 1, or a version of number 1 all along, and has returned to London to continue the village's work there as number 1. The fact that the flat door now opens like a door to the village also seems significant. Yeah. Number 1 on the flat could have been foreshadowing. Of course, maybe the flat door opening like a village door means that this London is really just another version of the village, and number 6 never really left, and now my brain has started to hurt. I'm probably reaching in order to make sense of this bonkers episodes, but there you go. Be seeing you, Claire. Claire, you are literalizing this show in a way that we have warned you to attempt to do. Yes. If you are prepared to do yoga stretches before you try to connect all these dots, then yes, you could be talking about that. But if this show has said nothing else, it is that this show is meant to be read on a metaphorical level because things like logic and continuity were not paramount to the creator of the show. Now, again, intention means nothing, right? It doesn't matter what you intended to make. It matters what you made. I still say that the door opening on the flat at the end is meant to be a statement, a symbolic statement that we are all prisoners, that we are all trapped, that we are all prisoners of our own personal villages. And to work out this clone thing, God love you. I mean, I was there with you, Claire. I was you, Claire, at one time when I was a younger man.
I mean, in Arrival, we have the maintenance guys, right?
Yep.
The gardener, and then the guy who comes to fix the radio that from Electrics on the little kiddie cart thing that doesn't go very fast, and there's some dialogue about it. In an emergency, we walk. Yeah, and then number 6 encounters that person again, and he kind of does a double take, and I think there's certainly the suggestion that these are clones. But as with so many other things on this show, it's never addressed again after that.
Yeah. I mean, it is there to cause college students in the quad who are very high to sit around and debate for 3 hours when they should be studying their calculus.
And they should be debating for 2 hours and 15 minutes, but recording it.
Yeah. I suddenly have a bit of insight I choose not to entertain. This is the show, right? This is why it's lasted this long. It is a theory engine. It feeds it. It was constructed to do that. I like this theory. It is one of many theories that I entertain, but do not embrace, because I think this thing exists to have many different interpretations.
Yeah, and I think that circular structure, it's one of those things that it always sort of works to seem profound when it isn't really, right?
Yep.
If you just put your characters back where you started them, but with some hard-won knowledge, then certainly the audience, they feel like they've been through something. They've had a range of emotional experiences along with this protagonist, but I feel like that is a way you can end a story with some dignity when you don't really know how to end the story. Now, having Leo McKern, number 2, just walk back into Parliament, that's something else. Like that's a real revelation. That's a decision. That's a real ending. We get both in Fallout.
Absolutely. All right, back to you, Bob.
Okay. All right. It's our buddy Paul Jackson. Again, hey, remember that episode of The Prisoner where Susie and the Banshees and XTC played in Port Merion, guest starring Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie? No? Well, it exists.
Save his life, call his wife in. Nothing to say, but what a day. How's your boy been? Nothing to do, it's up to you. I've got nothing to say, but it's okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
A still tongue makes a happy life.
How did you get in?
Questions are a burden to others. Answers a prison for oneself.
Get out!
This is a kind of special that the British host Jules Holland did in 1987. It's called The Laughing Prisoner.
It is a thing.
You're familiar with this?
No, I watched it because Paul was kind enough to send it to us. And man, this thing hits Teenage Glenn's sweet spot. It's The Prisoner. It's Jules Holland, lead singer, lead guy of Squeeze, a band I love to fucking death. And Stephen Fry, and Stephen Fry mostly. Stephen Fry plays number 2 in The Village. It is filmed largely in Port Marion. And Jules Holland plays a British entertainment show presenter, as they say over there, who resigns and is taken to the village. And there's several jokes that lack all context to an American audience about presenters and British people. But Paul is absolutely right. Susie the Banshee plays one of my favorite songs. XTC plays The Man Who Sailed Around His Soul as a dance number goes on the chess grounds. And also what Paul neglected to mention was the band Magnum, the hair metal band Magnum, which is led by, as far as I can tell, David Lee Roth's drunk uncle, because that is there's a reason why bands like Susie and the Banshees, XTC, and Squeeze, their names ring out in time, and a band like Magnum just doesn't. But Jules Holland, apparently, the host in this, and there are some solid jokes in this and some less than solid, very squishy jokes in this, has a love of the show that is very deep, such that he has remade his studio to look like Port Marion. So his recording studio. So this is a find. This is exactly the kind of thing that I had gone to a Prisoner, a 6 of 1 convention or anything. This is the kind of thing they would play, because this is so deep, with such deep cuts. They actually intersperse shots from The Prisoner, and they use the music, and they use shots of McGowan walking around the village, and it seems to me highly legally actionable, because, I mean, this was for Channel 4, and The Prisoner was originally on ITV, so how did that happen? Did ITV eat Channel 4? Did Channel 4 eat ITV? I don't know how it happened, but it is...
I don't know. British law must have something akin to fair use, right?
I don't know about that. I mean, like, this is the thing. But it is so... It's not, flumber 4, right? It's number 4, number 6, and number 2. And Stephen Fry, by the way, makes a perfect, as you'd imagine, if you know anything about Stephen Fry, makes the perfect number 2. The plummy, who keeps asking number 7, which is the Jules Holland character, why he resigned. And as soon as Jules Holland starts to offer it up, he goes, well, let's move on.
And this is the village. Get to know it well, number 7. From now on, it's your home. It's your home until you give us certain information that we require from you.
Well, I'm perfectly happy to tell you anything you would like to know. What would you like to know?
Don't play games with me, number 7. I'm not very good at them. By hook or by crook, by fair means or foul, we will find out why you resigned.
Well, it's perfectly simple. For a long
I begin to weary of your impertinent tricks, number 7. Let me tell you something.
And there is a very brief Hugh Laurie bit in it, and there is a thing about how Rover is now the size of a kind of a large beach ball because he's been around for so many years, and he's kind of tired. He's let himself go. He's kind of tired. Have you seen it yet, Chris?
No.
Oh, it's remarkable.
It's a real oversight on my part.
Yeah. Run, do not walk. I guess you would say it's called The Laughing Prisoner for reasons that escape me, unless it was meant to be a take on The Laughing Policeman, the British, very British thing. So I guess you just type in Jules Holland Prisoner. You're probably going to come up with a bunch because his love of the show is famous. So, but definitely thank you. Maybe we'll send this link out over the Twitter feed and the Instagram feed.
Absolutely.
It is a find, and I'm so grateful to Paul for pointing me to it.
I'm still reeling from the revelation that Jules Holland was in Squeeze. Glenn. Somehow
I
didn't know this. I didn't know. Like I knew about. You'd said to me half an hour ago. You said Squeeze. I'd say Chris Difford, Glenn Tilbrook. That wouldn't be wrong, but
no, he's OG.
I'm just looking at the Squeeze Wikipedia page, and it says there are 3 discrete incarnations of this band. One of the subheads is the Difford and Tilbrook years, and yes, and on the long list of past members, this is like looking at Spinal Tap's list of drummers.
Yeah,
but Jules Holland is the top name of this list of. This is like 15 people here.
Yeah,
this has been a lot of turnover in this band. U2, they ain't, Glenn.
No, that's certainly true. They're better. Yeah, I know. I don't know why I did that. Because we're this. I got the 20% sign just popped up right now. I don't know why I did that.
Yep. All right. Well, we got one more. The subject line is thanks. also Danger Man.
Okay.
Dear Chris and Glenn, earlier this year I finally got around to watching The Prisoner for the first time, something I had been meaning to do literally since 1993. I wonder why 1993.
I was going to say, it's a strange...
that's not a...
strange signpost.
There wasn't a remake. There wasn't a comic book series.
That's my flag in the sand here in 1993.
I fell for it hard. I watched the series 3 times in a row.
Okay, well, that's damaging.
And then binge-watched Danger Man for good measure.
Ooh, a completist.
Yeah, okay, so that's 17 episodes of The Prisoner times 3 is 51. Danger Man, I know McGowan, there's that interview in the 80s where McGowan identifies the number of Danger Man episodes, and I think he famously gets it wrong, but it's at least 60.
Sure.
I mean, it's a substantial number. I didn't have anyone to discuss it with. If only I had known at the time that you guys were doing this podcast. Okay, so I guess we can't claim credit for this, but
this time.
I recently discovered A Degree Absolute and have had lots of fun catching up on it. At the risk of embarrassing Glenn, I offer this appreciation. Bess has provided a set of lyrics, Glenn. A few couplets.
Okay.
A chorus.
To the Danger Man theme?
Nope. I sent this to you. Did you not?
No, I didn't see it.
Did you not?
No.
Okay. This is not. All right. Well, I'm going to skip ahead, and then we'll come back to her tribute. You've mentioned Danger Man on the podcast, but haven't discussed it much. I can understand if you don't want to watch through that entire show, but I hope at some point you do take a closer look. Maybe devote an episode or 2 of the podcast to a selection of Danger Man episodes. It's certainly a more conventional show than The Prisoner. Well, duh. That's the author's well, duh. That's not me editorializing.
Not me being a dick. Okay.
Exactly.
It did sound like it.
No, she put that in parentheses. But it's smarter than I expected. Parentheses, cheesy fistfights aside, and it is chock full of top shelf McGowan. She italicized top shelf. I liked it quite a lot, especially the 2nd and 3rd seasons. I would personally recommend, if you watch just one episode for the podcast, make it Colony 3, the 3rd episode of the 2nd season. It's a good episode and has plot elements that are strongly prisoner adjacent. John Drake goes undercover to investigate the disappearance of British defectors and finds that they're being relocated to a replica of an English village in the middle of nowhere, someplace on the other side of the Iron Curtain, where they lead fakey, normal, in quotation marks, lives under constant surveillance and are forbidden to leave, all so that foreign agents can learn how to pass as British. I don't think it would be that difficult, but...
They just get embarrassed easily. That's the first thing you learn.
Thanks again for the podcast and for taking the time to read this. Be seeing you, Bess G. Well, if all you had done was to write us that kind epistle with the suggestion that we go to some Danger Man, I would be certainly indebted to you, Bess G. But since you really went above and beyond and did a little spin on our theme song, I had to ask Casey if she would sing it for us.
Oh, jeez.
The jokes can be sweaty, but they're always astute. They put in the work on A Degree.
Oh, that's
absolute.
provably false.
They break down The Prisoner and more stuff to boot.
Sure.
That's right up my alley. A Degree Absolute.
That's nice.
'Cause yes, I love lava lamps and weather balloons.
Sure.
And bomb-ass impressions of Patrick McGowan.
Aww.
Chris and Glenn made a podcast especially for me.
Aww.
So I'm gonna thank them an absolute degree.
See? She worked in the title of the podcast. This is awesome. This is very sweet and awesome and great. And thank you, Casey, for going back to this well. Appreciate it. There's a woman at the bottom of the well that you keep throwing lotion at. But yes, thank you so much for doing it. That's
We're
awesome.
Sending our love down the
down
well.
the well, you are indeed sending our love down this well that we're going back to multiple times. That was awesome.
Yes, thank you, Bess, and thank you, Casey.
Bess. And Casey.
There are 4 billion people on Earth. 237 are scanners. They have the most terrifying powers ever created. And they are winning. Scanners. Their thoughts can kill. Scanners. Rated R. Under 17. Not admitted without parent.
Okay, so next up is the Scanners episode that we promised with the great Washington Post humorist and playwright, Alexandra Petri. She's a great Washington Post humorist and a great humorist apart from the Democracy Dies in Darkness newspaper that will never, ever hire me. Yeah, she is not a Washington Post playwright, but you know what? Actually, one of the plays that was postponed due to COVID here in D.C. was something she had written called Inherit the Windbag, and it was about William F. Buckley, and so I don't know. It's she's going directly into the political satire realm in her writing for the stage as well. Mm-hmm. So I hope we'll still get to see Inherit the Windbag.
I am looking forward to it. If people want to watch Scanners before this episode drops, where can they do that, Chris?
Well, it's on the Criterion channel, so of course you do need a subscription for that. I think it's available to rent cheaply through all of the regular streamers, but I can endorse the Criterion channel. I think I pay $80 a year or something for a year, not a month, and always a really eclectic, cool selection of movies. And if you love and you lament the disappearance of the behind the scenes featurettes as physical media is on the wane, Criterion has you covered, just as they famously have all those great extras on their discs. They make all that stuff available on the channel, and lots of extra stuff too, like it's just random, like, Rian Johnson or whoever goes into the Criterion closet, and you can watch this little featurette. All your favorite filmmakers talk about why they love this or that movie that's available on Criterion, and it's great.
Yep.
Yeah, so Scanners is still there as we speak.
Love the Criterion channel. Judgment on Scanners the movie? Well, we'll talk about that tomorrow, won't we? No, we'll talk about that, sorry, listeners, next week.
Next week, yes.
I'm doing that. I always forget to do that RuPaul thing where even though it's the next day, you're supposed to say, next week on blah,
right.
Blah.
I don't know. It was Cronenberg's THX1138, maybe.
THX11 suck 8, but yeah, okay.
Wow.
We'll talk about it. Talk about it.
All right. Well, till then, Glenn, be seeing you.
Be seeing you.
Nobody does it better. Makes me feel sad for the rest. Nobody does it half as good as you. Baby, you're the best. I wasn't looking, but somehow you found.
A Degree Absolute was conceived by Glenn Weldon and is produced by me, Chris Klimek. I wrote our silly theme song, which was then arranged and beautifully performed by my dear friend Casey Aaron Clark on vocals and keyboards, and her brother Jonathan Clark on guitar and percussion, with Marcus Newstead on bass. Learn more about Casey at CaseyAaronClark.com and or VitalVoiceTraining.com. Jonathan's band, Daybringer, is on Bandcamp. You can find them there. You can find us on Twitter at NotANumberPod, on Instagram at A Degree Absolute. Write the Citizens Advice Bureau at adegreeabsolute@gmail.com. Finally, leave a 5-star review for our show on Apple, Stitcher, whatever podcatcher you use. If you post it along with your craziest prisoner take, we will read that take on a future episode. Lastly, another reminder that NPR's podcast Startup Guide, Create, Launch, and Grow a Podcast on Any Budget by one Glenn Weldon is available now. I think he was probably quoting Lawrence Fishburne in The Matrix when he said that his book is not so much about giving you the answers as helping you know what questions to ask.
What do you want? Wide engagement or deep engagement? Right? This is what podcast people say all the time.
And save that filthy talk for your other podcast.
Nobody does it better. Makes me feel sad for the rest. Nobody does it half as good as you. Baby, baby, darling, you're the
This isn't about show business. This is about some kid down a hole or something, and we've all got to do what we can. There's a hole in my heart, as deep as a well, for that poor little boy who's stuck halfway to hell.
Though we can't get him out, we'll do the next best thing.
We'll go on TV and sing, sing, sing.
And we're sending our love down the well.
All the way down.
We're sending our love down the well.
Down that well.
Krusty, what are your plans for the royalties?
Well, we gotta pay for promotion, shipping, distribution. You know, those limos out back, they aren't free. Whatever's left, we throw down the well.
The jokes can be sweaty, but they're always astute. They put in the work on a degree absolute. They break down the prisoner and more stuff to boot. That's right up my alley, a degree absolute. 'Cause yes, I love lava lamps and weather balloons and bomb-ass impressions of Patrick Magoon. Chris and Glenn